Hello there guys, welcome to another my live video. So this is your Ole Gunnar Solsjaker press conference reaction, building up to the Manchester United Partizan Belgrade game tomorrow evening, 8 o'clock kick-off, and it is our fourth game in the Europa League. So far we've won 2 games out of 3, and we have registered 7 points from a possible 9. We are sitting top of the group at this present time. If we do win this game tomorrow evening, we are in to knockout stages of the competition, which is obviously very, very good. And analysing it, I think it's only our route to get into the Champions League, because I've actually fully disregarded that top 4, so I don't see Man United getting the top 4 this season. So I'm going to interpret some of the stuff that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer mentioned throughout his press conference. I'm also going to interpret some of the stuff that Ashley Young had mentioned as well, because obviously Ashley Young was alongside Ole Gunnar Solskjaer during the press conference. It got confirmed this morning that 6 of our players were absent from training. Solskjaer has confirmed that Victor Lindelof will not be playing in this game tomorrow evening, as Victor Lindelof did sustain a knock in the 2-1 win against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup. So he's definitely confirmed as Solskjaer, that he will not be involved. I don't know how severe the injury is. So he won't be playing. Also to Tuan Zebe, Angel Gomez, Matic, Luke Shaw, Bay, Fosu Mensah, all of them players will not be involved. And also to Paul Pogba. Solskjaer, as you all know, did confirm the extent of Paul Pogba's injury, and Paul Pogba is out until December, according to what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said. So Paul Pogba's injury must be more severe than we first feared. He did actually say that there was a slight chance that Pogba could be back after the international break to play against Sheffield United, but it is highly unlikely. But it did actually mention throughout the press conference how much of a big miss Paul Pogba has been, because we do know when he's on form the difference he does make in that midfield. With Luke Shaw, obviously he hasn't played since the 2-1 home defeat to Crystal Palace. He's been out with a hamstring injury, but like I said, a lot of Man United fans now believe that Brandon Williams is a better solution than him, because even though Luke Shaw is our first choice left back, but Solskjaer said throughout the press conference he's been very, very happy with Brandon Williams. He did very, very well in the reverse fixture against Partizan Belgrade. When we did win by 1-0, I thought he was the man of the match. Brandon Williams also did very, very well in the game against Bournemouth at the weekend. And I also, think James Garner did very, very well in the reverse fixture on his full debut. So reflect on their impressive performances anywhere. They are going to earn more first-team promotions. With Matic, he's been out with a minor problem. I don't think his injury's too severe. Eric Bay's out with a knee injury. He's out until the end of the year. Fosu Mensah, I don't think's now far away from recovering from injury. Diego Dalot, I don't think he will be playing tomorrow evening, because he's sustained quite a few injuries, this season as the lot. Obviously, he's one of our backup options at that right back position. But like I mentioned, I think he's got some kind of a leg problem. But obviously, reflect on the amount of injuries we've had this season anyway. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had to make a lot of alterations in the squad. Definitely for the game tomorrow evening, Solskjaer will be making a variety of changes, I do believe, from the 1-0 defeat against Bournemouth. But Solskjaer obviously sees his competition as more of a chance to give the young players more opportunities, and obviously more experience, and just basically like the Carabao Cup in that aspect. I don't know what formation he'll go with. I think, from my perception, he'll probably stick with a 4-2-3-1. He actually may go with a 3 at the back, because you could say we do seem to look better with 3 at the back, because prior to the 1-0 defeat against Bournemouth, we did really, really well in that 4-game period, and obviously Solskjaer was trying different sorts of elements, and they did seem to be working, which is obviously very, very good news. They did seem to be working in that, and he went with like 3-4-1-2. He went with the 3-5-2, and that formation seemed to be working in that. But, and we did really, really well in that 4-game period. And obviously, the pressure it eased them off Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, reflecting them on them 4 games. You could arguably say them 4 games, have probably, saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure at the football club. Because reflecting back before the Liverpool game, he was under intense pressure. Now, obviously, he's back under intense pressure following the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth at the weekend. We've obviously only won 3 of our opening 11 games in the Premier League this season, and we've only registered 13 points from a possible 33, and we know that's nowhere near good enough to our standards, and we are sitting 10th in the league, and like I said, we're 10 points behind top 4. I think we're around 3 or is it just around 3 or 4 points above relegation? So you can quite frankly say at the moment, we are facing them relegation battle. But I'm very, very confident, that Manchester United can get the win tomorrow evening against Partizan Belgrade. But all we have to do is win the game. Then obviously, we are into the knockout. Then we are into the knockout stages of the competition, basically. Sorry about that, guys. But I'll just as well interpret some of the stuff that Ashley Young had mentioned as well. He believes that, reflecting on our 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth, it hasn't dampened our spirits. He does believe that, Solskjaer has revived, the spirit of Alex Ferguson at Manchester United. So this is what, this is coming from Ashley Young's perception. So actually Ashley Young is praising Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Young obviously knows that, we've got winnable games coming up. We've got Partizan tomorrow. Then we go at home to Brighton on Sunday. Then obviously it's the international break. And then after the international break, we do play Sheffield United. But Solskjaer anywhere in this game tomorrow will rest key players. Obviously, with Brighton on the horizon, because we do know the Premier League's the most imperative are the Europa League and, the Carabao Cup and that. But it's still imperative is the Europa League, obviously, to assure us to get, back into the Champions League, because whatever route we do to get back into the Champions League, it doesn't matter as long as we get back in. And if we can get back into the Champions League, then obviously we've got a lot more of a chance, of getting the right calibre players that we do need. We've obviously, got to get the right calibre players anywhere at Manchester United. To get us back to being a competitive elite level football club. And I did say, I think we need at least 5 to 6 more signings anywhere if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club. So there's some of the stuff, that Solskjaer and Ashley Young mentioned, during the press conference. Solskjaer, said he was very, very disappointed, with the game against Bournemouth, obviously. He said we started the game, very, very well. We showed a lot of work ethic, we showed a lot of, the mentality and that was there. But he just said, we couldn't get that goal. We had chances in the game and that, but, we just didn't seem to have that clinical element. I think, he was very, very impressed in the game against Norwich when we did win 3-1 the other week. Analysing it, I think that's our best performance of the season. We also played very, very well in the game against Liverpool at Old Trafford, and we're the only team in the Premier League this season, to take many points from Liverpool. And in the Partizan Belgrade game away from home, it wasn't, the best of performances in Man United, but we still got the victory. It wasn't the best performances, I said. But so things do need to turn around at the football club, and there's some aspects of me that do credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Obviously I've got some element of concerns about him. To be fair, I did credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in that 4-game period because he did show a lot of we did show a lot of tactical flexibility. So we did really, really well. We also made a variety of I saw a variety of changes. In that 4-game period. Our away form was getting better because obviously we'd won 3 away from home on the trot. Certain players have stepped up to the plate, and we did seem to be scoring more goals, and we seem to be playing with a bit more urgency. We're showing some passion and desire on that current pitch. But I was very, very impressed in that. But for the vast majority of this season, I've been criticising Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics, because for the vast majority of this season, Solskjaer has been tactically naive. Some of his, team selections have been very questionable. Also, some of his substitutions are questionable. People will keep saying, why does he keep selecting Ashley Young? Why has he been playing him on a regular basis this season? Like I said, anyway, Young is one of the problematic players at the football club. He's obviously past his sell-by date. He is now, 34, 35 years in the age next year. And, Young has been a long-serving player at Manchester United. He's now into his ninth season at the football club, but he has been here 8 years. You could maybe say, reflect on the injuries that Man United have had and have still got. Maybe we haven't really had we've had basically no alternative, but to play Ashley Young in certain games. But these are question marks, regarding that, without a shadow of a doubt. But for my perception, I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer anyway, is good enough for Manchester United. I think he still believes he's the right man to elevate Manchester United forward. Also, Ed Woodward is compatible to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because he's got the same perception. Like I updated you on my video that I did earlier on, it actually said that Ed Woodward has given the sack verdict to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so he's assured that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is actually safe, especially at this present time. So maybe Ed Woodward is still convinced, if he is given the time required, then he can turn Manchester United around. This is what Ed Woodward does believe. But I said anyway, due to our inconsistency, everyone's to blame. The board are to blame. The vast majority to blame anyway stems from the board. And like I've mentioned on my recent videos, we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. I think we need to get rid of our current board and recommend a new board in, because our current board as well didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer during the summer, as they did actually show that they would have done, and they've been a liability for several years. I think we need to also get rid of Ed Woodward because he's also compatible to the board, because he's been a liability for several years. Don't think he's reliable enough to oversee our transfer business. I think there's still more players that do need to leave Manchester United. There's definitely more players that do need to leave, because there's still certain players here that are no longer, good enough to represent the football club. But we do know a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. I do believe Solskjaer needs to go because he isn't good enough for Manchester United. I do actually believe that the coaching staff are not good enough here. So we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. Definitely more signings are needed. Like I said, there's still deficiencies in the squad that do need to be addressed. Manchester United definitely need a midfielder. I think we actually need two midfielders. We definitely need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. We also, need a striker, someone that can come in that can assure us goals, and someone that can be more effective in the box, and someone that can create chances. Because we do look very exposed in that attacking line following the departures of Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez. We do look very, very exposed. The good news is, Martial, recently, recovered from injury. So at least in that aspect, he can, at least now he can add more inspiration in that attacking third of the pitch, as he has done recently, Anthony Martial. But initially, he enjoyed a good start to the season anyway, did Anthony Martial. Obviously, before he sustained that thigh injury. But, he's a very, very imperative player. Martial has scored 52 goals for the football club in all competitions. He has, he's now into his fifth season as a Manchester United player. But I have been very, very impressed with him. But we definitely, I think Solskjaer's orchestrating on maybe, bringing two forwards in January. But yeah, so from my perception, I think, we need our recruitment's got to improve in the next couple of windows at least, because our recruitment has not only been poor recently, it has been poor for several years, and the depth basically now in our squad isn't good enough. But I think it's going to be hard for us to attract players to the elite level next year, due to our inconsistency, and especially of us, not being in the Champions League. It was good during the summer that we did address some of the problematic areas. We got that experienced centre half in, we also got that right back in that, but we didn't address all the problematic areas. And I credit Solskjaer because he did recommend 3 good players to the squad during the summer. We we spent a substantial amount. We spent in the region of around £148 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire, and they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. So I will credit them in that aspect. Solsjaker has also got a lot of trustworthy in his young upcoming players. This is also something else I do want to credit him for, and we have got a lot of young players in the squad that are developing and trying to improve at Manchester United. I have got some element of concerns about certain young upcoming players, so this is why I did say, we should orchestrate on loaning some of the young upcoming players out in January and next year, because maybe some of them are not good enough to represent Man United, or they feel as though they're not getting enough opportunities. It will gain them more experience in that. But I can definitely assure that the likes of Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams, Tuan Zebe, I can definitely assure all of them, will become a huge success at Manchester United and that. But there is a lot of young upcoming players in the squad. But like I took into account, due to Paul Pogba's absence, I think, Fred has done really, really well, and so too has McTominay, where I've also been very, very impressed with him. Obviously, Solskjaer confirmed that Fred will take Paul Pogba's position for a while. I've got the same perceptions on Fred and McTominay. I don't know if they are long-term solutions for Manchester United and that, but they've both done really, really well. McTominay's done well for the vast majority of this season. Fred's had a few bad games this season, but I think he's done quite well recently. Fred and McTominay have complemented each other fantastically well in our midfield. I do agree on the aspects that Manchester United definitely overpaid for Fred. We paid just under £50 million to him last summer from Shakhtar Donetsk. He hasn't performed to the standards as we should expect of him. He hasn't replicated in Man United, so far what he, did do at Shakhtar Donetsk. But I would still, give him more time in the football club. I know Fred, and McTominay and that, they're not world-class midfielders, but, they have been delivering the goods this season, because Paul Pogba for the vast majority of this season has been out. He's only played, a few games or something like that. But I still said, Paul Pogba, has been a big miss for Manchester United. Pereira, he needs to step up to the plate, because I thought his performance was woeful in the 1-0 defeat against Bournemouth. But I think in a couple of games before that, I thought, he really, really did well. Andres Pereira this season has played in that playmaker's role, and he's actually made 8 appearances, I think, so far for the club this season. Like I said, Angel Gomez, I think's out with an injury. He was one of the players that I missed training this morning. He hasn't played in a lot of games this season as Angel Gomez and that. But so like I said, we have got a lot of young upcoming players in the squad. There's also a lot of experienced players in the squad as well. And I think in this game tomorrow, maybe Jones will get a chance. Maybe Rojo, will get an opportunity. I also believe that Jones and Rojo are two problematic players at the football club. Without a shadow of a doubt. But, Man United, I think, the only reason we're sticking out with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at this present time is because, I think mainly it's because, he was a club legend, basically, and in that aspect, where the board are soft in their stance on that. I think if, it would have been many other manager now, you could arguably say, where there would have been sacked by the football club. I think Solskjaer's got some more, belief now in Rashford, because actually, Rashford has rejuvenated himself recently, so I will credit Marcus Rashford for that, because for the majority of this season, I've actually, been criticising Marcus Rashford, reflecting on his, bad performances, in comparison to his time when he first broke into the senior squad. But quite recently, he has really stepped up to the plate. Rashford has also scored 52 goals for the football club in all competitions. I think this is since he broke into the senior squad back in 2016. But yes, I've also been very, very impressed with him. When Rashford's on form, he can score goals, he can lead the lines, he can be good at getting them runs in behind. I know a lot of Man United fans' perceptions are they're thinking, Rashford is overrated. Yeah. But I think Man United have made several mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years, and we have done. And I think one of the recent mistakes Man United did do, well, it was recent anyway, was obviously give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. We should have never give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. I think we should have waited at some point until the end of last season, or we should have waited at some point until this season to decide or not. Whether he's the right candidate for Manchester United. Don't forget, he has got a 3-year contract. I can assure definitely that Solskjaer will not see his 3-year contract out at Man United. He may see out until January, or he may see out this season, but he won't see out his 3-year contract. I can definitely assure you that, because he's aware of how much pressure he's under at the football club, and obviously Solskjaer's got a lot of honesty about him. Obviously he's aware of what's going on and that, and he knows Man United are not in the commanding position that they currently should be in, because I did say, reflects on the size and the potential and the money that's been invested into this football club, we should be in much more commanding position and that. But definitely next year is very imperative. We've got to get the right calibre players to Manchester United, so we can, be back up there competing and, winning major honours. I also believe that we need to recommend a director of footballing. I think, we need to get, someone who would be reliable to oversee our transfer business. Someone who would, someone who would be reliable to oversee our transfer business, someone who knows the traditions of the football club, someone, who's obviously, would have the right philosophy for Manchester United, to bring them, right players into the football club. And there was actually quite a few former Man United players linked with that director's role during the summer. There was obviously speculation about Edwin van der Sar the other week. But yeah, and I did initially say, that's one of the structural changes that we do need to see the football clubs. I was really, really annoyed that we didn't get that director of football in during the course of the summer. I still believe that Ed Woodward is keen on recommending a new director of footballing. Yeah, so this is what he's keen on. Obviously, there has been a list of managers on our agenda, who could replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now at the football club. I think there's around 3 managers on our agenda, who could replace him. Obviously, we do know there's been a lot of talks recently about Max Allegri, Obviously, the recent team he managed was Juventus. Obviously, he stepped down as Juventus manager at the end of last season after he had a 5-year tenure with Juventus. Obviously, won the vast majority of his silverware with Juventus. Also, progressed them to 2 Champions League finals. But he's actually, linked with a few other clubs as well as Man United. There's been talks about him going to Arsenal, possibly. He's also linked with the Bayern Munich job, because Bayern Munich have just recently sacked Niko Kovac. Obviously, because Bayern Munich did suffer a 5-1 drumming to Frankfurt. That was enough to end his tenure. So maybe Max Allegri could take the mantle on at Bayern Munich and that. But I think he could be interested in making a move. I think he could be interested in moving, to the Premier League and that. I think he's been, studying English recently, in preparation for his potential move. I think it's been a long process for him, because he's been studying, for quite some time now. Because obviously Max Allegri needs to get to know more about, the English Premier League, because he's actually never managed in the Premier League. He's spent the entirety of his managerial career in Italy, in Serie A, and that. And he's got the managerial experience, he's been managing now for around just over 16 years, is it? But he emulated himself up, because he actually started managing small various Italian clubs and worked himself up, like I just mentioned. This is what, he basically done and that. But he said, the other week that he was in discussions with Manchester United, of the regarding his salary, what he would earn if he was to be recommended in. Also, too, he did show a few things, that he wanted to bring Patrice Evra and, as one of his coaching staff, and he also wanted to bring Mario Mandzukic and Emre Can with him to the football club. So maybe Man United fans will have different perceptions on Max Allegri. Some believe he's got the managerial credentials to turn Man United around. Some believe he wouldn't be the right candidate. Like I said, everyone has a different perception. But I can assure that, Allegri, Pochettino, maybe even Chris Wilder probably, would do a better job than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, we do know there's been talks about Mauricio Pochettino. I did actually believe that we'd reignite our interest in Pochettino, because don't forget, before we recommended Solskjaer into the football club, obviously Pochettino was on our agenda for quite some time, and also Zinedine Zidane was on our agenda, and quite a few other players were at the time after the sacking of Jose Mourinho and that. But obviously, that time we went in for Pochettino, he was reluctant to leave Tottenham. Like I took into account as well, Daniel Levy is a hard negotiator. So this is why, obviously, we didn't get Richard Pochettino at that current time. But I do believe, if the job came vacant at Man United, and obviously, if he was sacked from Tottenham, I think he would grasp the opportunity, to take a big club on like Manchester United. Because I know we've been a toxic club, for the last 6 or 7 years, but we are, still one of the biggest clubs in the world overall, and we are the most successful team in England, historically, reflecting on the success we've had in English football, 20 times champions and that. But, Pochettino's obviously under pressure at Tottenham, obviously reflecting on their bad start to the season, Tottenham's in that. But if Man United, if we were to go in for him, I think we'd have to pay around probably £32 million in compensation to get him in anywhere, despite the fact that he doesn't have a release clause in his contract. I think he signed a 5-year deal with Tottenham, was it? Back in summer 2018 with around 8.5 million a year. But, Pochettino, he's got that managerial experience. My only element of concern about him that he hasn't won out in terms of silverware. Pochettino now is into his 6th season with Tottenham, but you can say he's enjoyed a good 5 seasons with them, but he's had obviously a pretty bad season so far this season. But Pochettino is good at developing young players. I think his managerial credentials are quite good, and he probably would come and do a good job at Man United if he got that opportunity. Before he was at Tottenham, he had a really short tenure with Southampton, and obviously before he was at Southampton, he managed Espanyol. So he's been managing now for just over a decade as Pochettino. But at the time, after the sacking of Mourinho, Solskjaer, just was our preference over them, because obviously, we know Solskjaer, managerial experiences. He hasn't really got that managerial experience, but as we saw it, he was a cheaper solution. Plus, he knows the traditions and that of the football club. But, so yeah, I think he could do well at Man United. And, according to what Tony Cascarino said quite recently, he also believes that, Chris Wilder, would, be the right solution for Manchester United or Arsenal. Because you've also got Unai Emery under pressure at Arsenal as well. So there's quite a few managers now under pressure. Chris Wilder, I've got to admire, for what he's done at Sheffield United, because he has done really, really well, progressed them from League 1 to 6 in the Premier League. He's been managing Sheffield United since around, 2016, so he's now into his 4th season with Sheffield United, and he has also, been a lot of talks about him. He isn't one of our primary candidates, but this was coming from Tony, Cascarino and that. But who would be the right man, to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United, let me know. Like I said, Solskjaer anyway is pessimistic about, signings in January next year. Obviously, mainly due to our inconsistency in that, like I've said to you, because we are enjoying our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. So last time we had as bad a start to a season as this was back in, 1989 or 1990. Overall, we've only failed to secure European football once. And I think that failure actually, came under the David Moyes era and that. Under the David Moyes era and all that. And I think we've failed to qualify for the Champions League 3 times out of the 6 seasons since, the Alex Ferguson era and that. But Ashley Young's still got a lot of confidence, in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. It is a long it's going to take a long rebuilding process. I even assured them at the start of this season anyway, I said, despite the despite the free signings that we did recommend into the football club, I said, I don't expect this season to win the league or mount any kind of title challenge up. And I did actually say our aspirations will be that top four in the next couple of seasons. But I said if we can get into the Champions League or we can get that top four, that will, build more momentum. It'll, give us a platform and it'll give us something to build on basically and graduate to something higher, in the next couple of years or so. But we won't win the league for at least the next 3 to 4 years. We won't, because obviously at the moment City are strides ahead of us. Obviously you've got Liverpool that have strides ahead of us. But I did actually, say at the start of the season, I expected us to enjoy a better season this season than what we saw last season, because last season was disappointing. We finished 6th. We failed to qualify for the Champions League and that. But we are enjoying a worse season so far, as obviously, the league table tells you, where the league, table, doesn't tell lies. Just need to put my sock on. So yeah, a lot of things, we need to see a variety of changes at the football club and that, like I said. But we need top four. But like I said early on in the video, I think the only route for us is to, get into the Champions League. Is obviously, is to, win basically, the Europa League. I think definitely our squad's good enough to win the Europa League. It's definitely good enough for a top four finish and that. But there's quite a lot of elements of our game, that we do need to improve on. We need to start scoring more goals. We need to start registering more shots on target. Obviously, we can't do that because, we're not creating enough chances. Maybe there's certain games this season that you can pinpoint out where we've created chances, but we just haven't been clinical enough in front of goals. So that's obviously an element of concern. You could maybe say some aspects of his game have improved. Maybe we do look better defensively. We've heard the signing of Harry Maguire, and he's enjoyed a good start to his Man United career. We paid obviously £80 million for Harry Maguire, and I will agree again. We did overpay for Harry Maguire. And like I said, we're known for overpaying for players in recent years. But, this is just what Manchester United do in that. But you can probably say, he has addressed our defensive deficiencies, to be fair. I think mainly this season, him and Lindelof have blended in very, very well together in our backline, which is obviously, some positive news. But actually, we do seem to be, still conceding goals. But yeah, Solsjaker is still in the process of rebuilding this Man United team, because obviously analysing the majority of this Manchester United team, it isn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. The vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's, because Jose Mourinho, did recommend 11 players into the football club. Now, obviously, Solskjaer is still inheriting the vast majority of them. Obviously, there's still players even from the Van Gaal era. Actually, a lot of players have left now since the Van Gaal era, but some of them are still here. You've got still Matty from the David Moyes era, and there's still, some players here from the Alex Ferguson era, believe it or not. But yeah, definitely, further more investment is needed in the squad and that. So some people are saying, we should still give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at least a couple of more windows. I think he's definitely been assured he will be given money to spend in January. This is what it has basically said. This is what it has basically said and that. But we've Solskjaer is our fourth permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era, and like I did say to we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers, and we're not really known for the sacking football club anywhere, despite the fact we've already sacked 3 managers since the Alex Ferguson era. David Moyes obviously left after 10 months. Moyes had a really short tenure with the football club. He's actually had the shortest tenure since the Ferguson era. And again, that's another mistake Man United made, and it was the only mistake Ferguson made, was obviously ever recommending David Moyes in. Then, obviously, after Moyes left, we recommended Giggs in for the short period. He was the interim manager for the short period of time. Only managed 4 games. Giggs, obviously, was at Man United 24 years. He obviously, made the most appearances for the football club. He totaled 900, was it 900 and 900 odd appearances, 968 appearances, I think it was, scored around 168 goals for the football club. Then obviously after that we recommended Van Gaalen. He lasted around just a year, was it, or a year and a half, something like that. He got sacked despite the fact he won the FA Cup. His philosophy wasn't right for the club though. Then obviously Jose Mourinho then got recommended in, and he had a 2.5-year tenure at Manchester United. Obviously spent just under 400 million, or did he spend 400 million? So he spent a substantial amount. But he had a 2.5-year tenure, but he got sacked despite the fact he won the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season at Manchester United. And I've obviously give you the variety of reasons why it didn't work out under the Mourinho era. But Solskjaer obviously, has had nowhere near to the extent of 2 year yet, 2.5 year yet. He's only been here around 11 months. He's been here at the football club just under a year overall. You can say prior to the 4 games before the Bournemouth game, he's enjoyed difficult, 7.5, 8 months at the football club, because he has been permanent manager now for around 8 months and that. And it's totally comparison to what I saw, whilst Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager, because actually he did really, really well when he was the interim manager. The results were good, the performances were good. He got the best out of these group of players, and he exceeded expectations and that. And, it was really, really good. And my perceptions were different regarding Solskjaer then, because I thought at that moment in time he was the right manager for Manchester United at that current time. But obviously, over this 8-month period or so, obviously, my perceptions have changed regarding Solskjaer and that. But when he was interim manager, he won his first 8 games. He then went and won 14 out of 19 games in all competitions and that. One of his most iconic moments as a manager, obviously, was that that 3-1 win against PSG in the Champions League last season, when we did produce that miraculous comeback. He's got 2 iconic things as Solskjaer. What he's had, what he's enjoyed, the manager, the PSG game, and as a player, 1999, of course, when he did win the club, the treble and that. We haven't won the league, for nearly 7 years. We haven't won it, since 2013. The last time we won it was in Alex Ferguson's last season. But yeah, I don't. It probably won't take Man United another 30 years to win another title. Like it obviously, has done with Liverpool and that. And like that quote Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did come out with before the game against Liverpool. But like I said to we have got a lot of players on our agenda, who we could go in for next year and that. Like I've said to you guys, I think Solskjaer's given Ed Woodward around a 6, player, 6. He's given Edward around 6 transfer targets and that. Like I've said to you, I think it's very, very probable that we're going to sign Mario Mandzukic in January, and I think he's going to be our first signing in January, and overall he's going to be our 4th signing under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. The good thing is that is a cheap solution. Juventus only want around 9 or 10 million pounds for Mario Mandzukic, which is obviously very, very good. I admire his career because he's had a really, really good career. He's a good adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. Obviously, he isn't a long-term replacement for Lukaku, but at least the good thing is he can show the likes of Daniel James, Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial how to be more effective in the box, and he will have more experience in that attacking line. My only element of concern I've got about recommending him in, he's 33, he's probably, you could say he's only got a couple of years left in his footballing career. But Mario Mandzukic served 4 years with Juventus. He's now into his 5th season with Juventus. But obviously, he served his 2 requirements to Juventus, because since the recommendation of Maurizio Sarri, Mario Mandzukic has not played a single minute under his guidance. I think Man United are reportedly prepared to hand him around an 18-month contract. Obviously, we're not going to give him a long-term contract reflecting on his age and that. But we inquired about getting him towards the back end of the summer transfer window. But obviously, we didn't end up, getting him in that. But yeah, I think it's very probable we're going to sign him in January. Obviously, we've got Moussa Dembele on our agenda. I also like Moussa Dembele a lot. Really, really good player. Only 23 years of age. I think he would be the right calibre player for Man United. He would be able to assure us goals. Also, the beneficial thing about recommending him in is that, he's played in the Premier League. He began his senior career with Fulham in the Premier League and that. And he's actually not emulated himself up and that. And I think if he came to Man United, he could replicate, what he did with Leon. What he's doing now with Leon. What he did during his couple of years with Celtic, and what he did at Fulham. And he is an out-and-out number 9. He is under contract with Leon still though until 2023. But if we are to go in for him next year, I am aware he will cost the club a substantial amount of money. So there has been a lot of talks about him, going on. And I think the club anywhere, I think, we're expected, to spend a substantial amount next year. I think we'll probably spend around 215 or from 250 to 300 million pounds next year, including, what I think, we'll spend next summer on players. But always spending big on players and getting them Glasgow players anyway, doesn't always guarantee you success, as that's been proven with Manchester United. Sometimes being sensible with your recruitment, gets you in a better position. Obviously, there's been talks about Erling Haaland from... There's been talks about Erling Haaland, who currently plays for Red Salzburg. He's also a forward. He's also on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's agenda. I think the beneficial thing about recommending him is that he has actually played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance during his short period with Mould, and I think actually Solskjaer maybe he's keen on reuniting with the player. An estimated guess, I think he'd be a cheap solution. I think we'd probably have to pay maybe around 25 or 30 million pounds to him. He didn't. When I read up about it the other week, it didn't actually say valuation. But he's around he's only around 19 years of age, and I think Solskjaer's keen on continuing the policy of recruiting young British players. Like he did do during the course of the summer. But he's another player on our agenda. I still also believe that Jadon Sancho is on our current agenda. Don't forget, we went in for Jadon Sancho during the summer. We actually identified him as our number one priority target, back in January. But obviously our move got screw ups for Jadon Sancho with our failure to qualify for the Champions League and that. Again, I would be excited about the prospects of Jadon Sancho playing alongside the likes of Rashford, Martial and Daniel James, and that he complement them well. And the good thing is as well, he's had experience of playing in the Premier League as Jadon Sancho. He had a couple of years with Man City. Never got assured first team opportunities at Man City, and this is the main factor reason why I left City to join Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund basically got him for next to no. They only paid around 7 or 8 million pounds for him, but he's obviously during his couple of years he's been with Dortmund, obviously his valuation has persistently grown. He is under contract with Dortmund until 2023. I think Liverpool have been interested in him. Also, I think, did it mention Arsenal have been interested in the play, but I think he'd fit our system perfectly. He is predominantly a right winger, as Jadon Sancho. He is only 19 years of age, but he is good on and off the ball. He can score goals, he can provide, he can create chances. I am aware he'll cost the club a substantial amount. We'll probably have to pay in the region of around £100 million to get Jadon Sancho. Yeah, another player on our current agenda. Obviously, there has been, talks about James Maddison. Again, he's another player on our agenda, and I do believe, he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United again. Premier League proven, he's a player that, can create chances, because last season it created more chances in the Premier League than any other player. Maddison's got around 4 years left on his current contract with Leicester and that. And he's only 22 years of age, predominantly an attacking mid, but being played on the left quite a few times under Brendan Rodgers' guidance. But Brendan Rodgers knows how much an imperative player he is. If we're going for Maddison next year, we'll probably again have to pay in the excess of around 60 or 70 million pounds for the player. Probably he's a good adequate replacement for Pogba, because I still believe Paul Pogba wants to leave Manchester United next year, definitely, like they do for the entirety of the summer. But yeah, it's good, that we are making plans for the January, transfer window and that. But we haven't been competitive enough, for years in windows, and that, reflected back under Mourinho era though, he didn't get back to nothing. He didn't get his number one priority targets. But we will see what happens. But that's everything to update you. That's your Manchester United, Partizan Belgrade preview and that. Just wanted to interpret, some of the stuff that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer mentioned during his press conference. Also wanted to interpret the stuff, that Ashley Young mentioned. Like I said, Ashley Young, does actually insist that Solskjaer is Solskjaer's is reviving is reviving Ferguson's spirit at Manchester United. This is what Young believes, and he actually believes the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth does not dampen our spirit. So Young's actually still got quite a lot of faith in Solskjaer, and that's it's his perception. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Yeah, so anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.